Alright guys, so in this video we're checking out the new Foxeer T-Rex FPV camera. So this is another analog CMOS FPV camera, and this has a much higher resolution. As you can see here, it says 1500 TV lines. That is what is mostly unique about this camera. This is a new sensor. It also has a unique capability of very low latency. So they're advertising about a 6 millisecond latency, which is fairly close to what the Predator series has, around 4 milliseconds. So unlike some of the other CMOS cameras out there, like the Toothless and the Ratel, those have a much higher latency. Probably, if I remember right, they're above 10 milliseconds. So if you want a lower latency, but that sort of CMOS image quality, which is quite different from CCD, then this one is one you probably want to check out. So let's go over all the details on this one here. So the particular version here has it comes in a micro-sized 19 millimeter case with an M12 lens. It's a 1.7 millimeter M12 lens. The sensor here is a native 16:9 sensor, but it is 16:9 and 4:3 switchable, and PAL and NTSC switchable. The voltage range is like 5 to 36 volts, I believe. So it's all pretty typical in terms of other Foxeer cameras. The image quality, basically in a nutshell, it looks somewhat similar to the Toothless. It's got sort of that like kind of GoPro color quality. The colors look very natural compared to, say, the Predator. It's a little bit more washed out. I'm not exactly sure if that's a contrast setting or something, but obviously everything you're going to see here is all stock settings. I haven't adjusted anything in the flight footage, just sort of describing what the image is like. But it's, although it is analog, and in terms of analog, the resolution, in terms of 800 TV lines, 1000 TV lines, 1500 TV lines, probably doesn't make that much of a difference, because anything above, I think, about 600 TV lines in analog doesn't really mean a whole lot, because it's still analog. But it does appear to look a little bit better than the Toothless series or the Predator series in terms of just the overall image quality, in terms of the detail that you pull out of the image. So again, this is going to be kind of subjective, so you're going to have to look at the image yourself and compare it to some of the older cameras like the Toothless, the Ratel, etc., and see if you can notice that much of it. It's very subtle, and only if you look at a lot of cameras you'll kind of say, oh, okay, this one's a little bit better, but it's like not objectively a huge difference, because again, it's analog, and so anything above about 600 TV lines isn't going to be that big of a deal. Alright, so here's what the camera weighs. It's about 8.7 grams. Alright, so I got the camera powered up now, and we're just going to take a kind of a quick look at the image and through our monitor here. And I haven't changed any of the settings. It's currently in 16:9 mode. I believe this is a 16:9 monitor. And kind of give you an idea of what the aspect ratio looks like, and also the field of view. So obviously in 16:9 mode, you're going to have the maximum field of view available to you. It's got a pretty decent horizontal field of view, obviously, us being a 16:9 sensor. The vertical field of view isn't as good as a lot of the other 4:3 cameras out there, like the Predator. So normally, like at this camera angle, this view here, the horizontal field of view is about the same as a 4:3 camera, but I would normally be able to see the ceiling light, the ceiling fan up here in my frame of view. So, for certain type of applications like racing, for example, where you need a lot of vertical field of view, this might not be the best camera for you, but this is very good in terms of detail, and also in terms of like the colors. I think that is the biggest thing here that's noticeable, is how natural the colors look. This red's a little bit on the light side compared to it, seeing it in person. This gray here is about right, and then the green cutting matte here on the bottom here with the lines, that's also pretty close to being accurate there. Again, you'll see in the flight footage that the colors are pretty natural looking and pretty good. Okay, so we'll take a quick look at the settings. We have your basic stuff here. Image, you can flip the image. I think, let's see here, we can do it horizontally, vertically, both horizontally and vertically. And I don't usually use that unless you mount the camera upside down in your frame. You can adjust the sharpness and color gain here to your liking. Obviously, I left it all stock. Obviously, the gamma can be adjusted as well as the digital noise reduction. That is currently off on the stock setting. Again, all stock settings here, I haven't adjusted anything. Automatic white balance, usually I just leave that on auto. Of course, if you have different lighting conditions, you may want to change that. So you have manual obviously available to you, and you can adjust the color temperature and all that. So I'm not going to mess with that, leave it on auto. Exposure as well, that's usually auto, but in this case, shutter is auto. You can adjust the brightness and the automatic gain control. So those are just things you can make adjustments to your preference. Day and night, I think, is on color, yeah. And this camera has an LED mode, so if you are running this on something that's flying at night on an LED track, you probably want to turn that on. Obviously here, the settings are going just as much brighter, and the LEDs are going to show up much better in the video. And the language, change that as well. System here. All right, so in the system setting here, you can turn the cam title off. I usually have that off, like the voltage and timer and stuff like the pilot name on the bottom. I usually typically turn all that off anyway because I always use Betaflight OSD. And here in output, you can adjust that from 16:9 to 4:3. So you can see here when I switch it to 4:3, you basically lose the sides of the image here. Basically the sides get cut off. So that's how I know it's a 16:9 sensor. So if you have a 4:3 goggle, and that's what I did, was I switched to 4:3 to fly, because otherwise what happens is you actually squeeze the sides in and everything looks really tall and weird in your 4:3 goggles. So if you have a 4:3 goggle, I would suggest switching it to 4:3 mode, but you do lose the side resolution and also field of views lower as well if you do that. All right, that's it for all the settings. So I'll go ahead and show you the flight footage now, and yeah, let me know if you have any questions, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.